Hello everybody, welcome back to another episode, and I am out here today with my absolutely ginormous Cymbidium orchid. Now, if you didn't know, these plants can get huge, and I'm talking humongous. So this plant is probably gonna stay about 4 feet tall, but man, I tell you, these plants can grow to be wider than this if you let them. So if you don't propagate them, if you don't divide up the pseudobulbs, if you don't do anything like that, this is going to get huge. Okay, so now we're going to talk about how good this is doing, actually. So I got this probably 5 months ago now, and it has honestly done fantastic. So if you see, already it has started to grow new bulbs right here and new growths. So these ones here were the original ones when I first got it, and now it has at least one. Let's see, on this side here there should be one in the middle. Yep, 2. So there is 2 new growths on this plant. Now, all I do for care requirements is pretty much the same as all of my other plants and all of my other orchids. I just water this once a week. I leave it in bright indirect sunlight on the patio here, and that is it. So I try not to touch this one as much as possible because the leaves are so big. And as you can see with some of them here, they're bent over like this. So it seems to be doing just fine with that. I mean, and it doesn't seem to be affecting the leaf too much right here. So you want to try and minimize that as much as possible though, but with a large species of orchid like this that has huge leaves, it's going to be really difficult. So I don't fertilize this plant at all because I've had the best success without fertilization. I just have it planted in some orchid bark here. Again, really simple. Another orchid that is super fun to take care of, and I hope you guys have great success with your Cymbidium orchids. So the ones in the back here are the older growth on this one. So these pseudobulbs are going to be wrinkled, they're going to be drying out, possibly. That's okay, because what happens is they'll actually take the nutrients from these back pseudobulbs and they'll use it to get the ones in the front, the new growth and the stuff that's just starting to come up, that'll be more healthy. So completely natural process. If you are worried about your pseudobulbs shriveling like that, you shouldn't worry as long as there's new growth in the front and the ones in the front are very healthy. I actually explained in a few videos ago that when an orchid has new growth, again, they'll deteriorate in the back and they'll keep moving forward. So what'll happen is eventually the orchid will start to migrate to the front of the pots, depending on where you have the growth oriented. So when you repot them, you want to put the old growth as far back as possible and move the new growth to probably the middle, or again, as far back as you possibly can, so that over time it has enough space for the new growth to travel and go to the front. So there's kind of a cheap method you can use for repotting them. You don't necessarily have to pot it in a different pot. You just pot it in the same pot, as long as you don't have any kind of problem with the roots, or the roots are becoming too out of hand, like they're growing too much. It's okay to plant them in the same pot. So I explained that a few videos ago, so make sure to check that out. But yeah, I think that's going to be it for this one. Just touched on the subject of cymbidiums and how to care for them. This is in the summertime, so Stay tuned for my overwintering tutorial when that eventually comes out, because I am going to love going through the process of how to do that, and I will make sure to keep you guys updated. So there is an update on my Cymbidium orchid. Such a cool plant, such an awesome species to have. The flowers are really big too. They're probably about the size of the inside of my palm here. So when I got this plant, I was looking for some amazing stuff, and I found a really unique species. So I will catch you in the next one. Make sure to let me know what you thought of this video down in the comments, and see you next time.